hard to tell, but he's clearly losing the war in Iraq. He's losing the war at home. And he has become a bit of a pariah around the world. And it's not just NATO. It's not just the European Union. It's Japan. It's 40 nations.
That's right, gang. Putin is now officially losing in Iraq. He should never have invaded. Everyone could see there were no WMDs, so now Putin's stuck in Iraq, losing a war of his own choosing. I mean, this guy, what do you say about this walking fail factory? Tucker thinks he's gone. Did you see his latest? Tucker on Twitter? He thinks Gavin Newsom, gruesome Newsom himself, is leading the internal revolt, the mutiny, the coup. Gruesome Newsom's gone Prigozhin, and he wants to take out bumbling Biden. You would ask why? Why are they trying to take up? Could any reasonable person ask a question like that? Isn't it rather obvious? I mean, you heard it yourself. Putin is losing the war in Iraq. God save the Queen, man. I mean, the guy is cognitively gone, and the Democrats are beginning to panic over it because, as you may have seen, the polls are coming out, and they're all showing the same writing on the wall. Trump is beating Biden. Even the ultra-leftist New Yorker is admitting that, gang. Trump is poised to crush Biden. All the polls are basically showing the same surge. Let's take a look at the latest Morning Consult poll. It's a registered voter surveys. Keep that in mind. It's not a likely voter, far more accurate, but registered voter. And even then, Trump comes out ahead, beating Biden 44-41. It's the first time that Trump has topped Biden in the history of Morning Consult's polling. But that's all part of the trajectory that we've been seeing of late. I mean, there's just no way around this. Trump has been surging and Biden has been imploding ever since the indictment started coming out, interestingly enough. Again, even the ultra-leftist Politico is admitting that. Yes, I think Politico has gone super lefty of late, but even they're admitting that the indictments are only serving to strengthen Trump's support, not weaken it. And again, we predicted precisely that. In a video I did right after the first indictment from that Soros-backed corrupt Manhattan DNA, I made the argument that the overwhelming concern, frankly, the outrage over what 80% of the public, according to Trafalgar, perceives as a two-tiered unfair justice system would serve as a backlash against this DA, right? And that would double with the most recent federal indictment. And all that was corroborated by the most recent Harvard-Harris poll that found that 55% of the population believes that the federal indictment against Trump is politically motivated. 55, that's nearly 6 in 10. Think this is nothing more than a political hack job. 56% believe it's deliberate election interference by Biden's Justice Department. And this plea deal for Hunter Biden, this sweetheart deal that no other human on the planet would ever have gotten, ain't making things any better for Democrats hoping to hurt Trump in the arena of public opinion. According to the same poll where the election held today, Trump would crush Biden by 6 points. Now, this is their second polling in a row showing results like this. Back in May, Harvard-Harris found Trump beating Biden by 7 points. So you've got two back-to-back polls with almost identical margins of victory, with the second one post-arraignment. So clearly Trump isn't being hurt by any of this and only seems to be helped by it. I mean, we could keep going. A brand new 538 poll from Nate Silverspoon just released today is Trump beating Biden by 2. McLaughlin's latest polling is Trump up by 5. The new Data Premise poll is Trump up by 2. And it's no surprise when we go to the aggregate polling, the Real Clear Politics polling average, it averages out all the various polls out there. Trump is obviously leading Biden. And this is huge because as the pollster Rich Barris of the People's Pundits pointed out, Trump has never led Biden in the aggregate polling. Biden has always had a huge advantage over Trump in the aggregate. Again, this is the averaging of all the polling that's out there. So the fact that Trump has taken the lead in the polling average, and keep in mind, after 2 indictments, I mean, you can see why the Democrats are getting so panicky here, and they're going Prigozhin. According to one historian's prediction, if they're not panicked right now, they better be. But first, many of you have been kind enough to notice that I've lost a couple of pounds of late. And it's true, I've lost 65 pounds. That's right, gang. I tried everything under the sun to lose weight, and nothing worked until I discovered the fantastic nutrition coaching of PhD Weight Loss. PhD Weight Loss is 100% over-the-phone nutrition and behavior coaching program that I simply could not possibly recommend enough. I was able to eat delicious meals all while reaching my weight goals in record time. And gang, it was one of the easiest things I ever did. They completely take out all the guesswork behind what, when, and how much to eat. They make the process painless, simple, and as easy as possible. Dr. Ashley Lucas has helped thousands achieve their health goals over the last 15 years. And guess what, gang? You're next. Do it. Change your life today by clicking on that link below, or give him a call at 864-644-1900. Tell him Dr. Steve sent you, and join me and thousands of other patriots who are taking back control of our health. Click on that link below, or go to myphdweightloss.com. The Scottish-American historian Niall Ferguson has come out and predicted that President Trump will indeed win it all in 2024. The Stanford University professor turned heads in a recent op-ed for The Spectator, where he laid out one of the more comprehensive cases for why Trump will win a second term. First and foremost, in terms of the preliminaries, Ferguson recognized that the indictments are not hurting Trump. They're only helping him. Ferguson argues that all of this lawfare, this weaponized legalism, is ultimately doing is causing Trump's numbers to go up and his fundraising to skyrocket. But then he gives two arguments, two interrelated arguments that have convinced him that Trump is going to take it all in 2024. First, Ferguson notes that Trump is hands down the leader in an increasingly crowded Republican field. He's beating DeSantis by an average of a margin of 30 points. And historically speaking, the early frontrunners generally win the Republican primaries. The early frontrunner has won Republican primaries in the last 6 out of 8 competitive races since 1972, since the modern system of primaries was introduced. So as far as Ferguson is concerned, Trump's got this. He's got the nomination all wrapped up. That's a virtual given at this point. So now, what about Biden? What about the general election, right? Well, for Ferguson, the big issue for Biden, more than anything else, historically speaking, for a sitting president, the single major issue is the R word, recession. Larry Summers, the former Treasury Secretary, he has a pretty good track record in terms of forecasting. He saw inflation coming several months before it hit. Summers is predicting with a 70% probability that we'll be in a major recession within the next year. Now, why is that so important in terms of predicting election forecasting? Simply put, no Democrat president since FDR and no president period since Calvin Coolidge a century ago has been reelected if a recession has occurred in the 2 years before the nation votes. I'll say that again because I think it's so key to his prediction. No president in the last 100 years has been successfully reelected if a recession has occurred in the last 2 years of his presidency. So this is why the Biden White House is panicking today. This is why the legacy media has thus far refused to use the R word. They know it's a death knell for an incumbent president's reelection. And so Ferguson, the historian, simply puts 2 and 2 together here. And he puts it this way. He says, quote, "The lesson of history is clear. The Republican frontrunner usually wins the nomination, and a post-recession incumbent usually loses the presidential election." And that's why he sees Trump going all the way in 2024. Who knows? Maybe by then, Putin will finally left Iraq. Hey, gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.